Well, there's something that parents should be able to trust, but official classifications for recent movies have come under a bit of fire over worries that children are watching films which may not be appropriate for their age. Weekend Sunrise movie man Jason Jabba Davis has been investigating for us. Jabs, an overhaul seems to be long overdue. You have talked to us about this just recently, actually.
Good morning, Mon. Loving the X-rated signs behind you there. Very enticing. Look, I think Tarantino's film came out last week, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was the biggest opening for any of Leonardo DiCaprio's films, bigger than Wolf of Wall Street, bigger than The Revenant. People have flocked to see the film with a rating of MA 15+. But being Tarantino, of course, there's scenes of violence that are going to make anybody squirm. I particularly squirmed at the end of the film, and I was surprised it wasn't given an R rating, particularly given Mel Gibson's latest film was given an R rating. We'll talk more on that tomorrow. So I think it's natural to expect as a parent that your kids are going to push the boundaries. They're going to want to see films that are classified older than what's suitable for their age group. But what about the films that are classified as suitable that are maybe questionable? I think it is time that we had a look at the classification system. It is due for an overhaul. Let's take a look.
They're some of the biggest films of the year, but should we really be allowing kids to watch them? And at what age?
All the shooting. I love that stuff, you know, the killing.
A lot of killing.
From superhero spectaculars to Tarantino's latest gorefest, parents depend on the classification system to decide which films are suitable and which are not. In Australia, movies are rated by the Classification Board according to 6 criteria: themes, violence, coarse language, sex, nudity and drug use. The board then gives films one of the following ratings: G for general, which means suitable for everyone; PG for parental guidance, films that may contain material children find confusing or upsetting that a parent might need to explain. M is suitable for mature audiences and not recommended for children under 15. MA 15+ is a legally restricted category. Only people aged 15 and over can see these films, unless in the company of a parent or guardian. And R-rated films are restricted to adults over 18. But are those current ratings good enough? Quentin Tarantino's latest offering, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, contains some very violent sequences that I think could have pushed it into the R category. But the film was rated MA 15+.
Well, you can have a very low impact level, MA 15+ film. You could have one that's sort of sitting mid-range in what we would permit at MA, and then you can have something like the Tarantino film, which is sitting at the upper limit of the MA 15+ category.
The Elton John biopic, Rocket Man, was originally rated MA 15+ due to the inclusion of one very strong swear word. But the film's distributor successfully demanded a review. They won, and the movie was reclassified, downgraded to M.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Elton.
But that's my name.
Yeah, I know.
The review board decided that notwithstanding that utterance of that particular very strong coarse language, they felt that they could mitigate it because there was only one utterance. It was said emotionally, and it was actually said by Elton John about himself. So they were the grounds on which they felt they could mitigate the impact of that word down to an M classification level.
Now the government has revealed a review of the classification system is underway, with new guidelines to be developed.
We believe very strongly that we need a PG-13 category in Australia. There are a lot of films and games that just exceed what is currently allowed in the mild or PG category, but you don't really require a mature perspective, which is what the M category is about.
The Australian Council on Children and the Media has its own more detailed movie ratings for parents and wants more levels of classification.
We would like to see a genuinely age-based system throughout, not just to have the cut-offs at 13 and 15, because children go through different ages and stages of development. What's appropriate for a 5-year-old is not necessarily the same as what's appropriate for an 8-year-old or even an 11-year-old. Therefore, we think that 13 is not enough. We would like to see classifications revolving around the ages of 5, 9, 12 and 16, as well as 18.
The council is also concerned about M-rated films, such as Marvel superhero blockbusters, which target kids as young as toddlers through merchandising.
We would like to see regulation come in as part of this review to address that issue and to ensure that film distributors can't undermine the classification system and confuse parents the way they have been doing.
Yet the movies are rated for mature audiences. If you'd like to have your say on the new regulations, the Department of Communication and the Arts will be publicly releasing its discussion paper later this year. All Australians are encouraged to make submissions. And if you're unhappy with the classification of a film you've seen, you can write to the board.
So there you go. It is imminent that we're going to be overhauling the guidelines for classification, which is great news because some great films there, but are they suitable for younger viewers? Tomorrow I'll see you on for Aretha Franklin and Mel Gibson.
Oh, yay.
Sadly not together, but a couple of great films for you tomorrow.
All right.